Welcome back to Cannabis with Tiff, where we dive deep into the science and soul of growing cannabis. I'm your host, Tiffany Deerking, and today we're talking about something absolutely essential: the basic anatomy of the cannabis plant and the foundations you need to know to start growing. Whether you're dreaming of a single plant on your windowsill or a full backyard garden, this is where it all begins. Let's kick things off by starting with the most basic question. What is cannabis? Cannabis is a genus of flowering plants that belongs to the Cannabaceae family. It has been cultivated for thousands of years for fiber, seeds, medicine, and its psychoactive properties. When we talk about cannabis today, we're usually referring to three main types. Cannabis sativa, known for tall, narrow plants and uplifting, energizing effects. Cannabis indica, shorter, bushier plants often associated with calming, relaxing effects. And Cannabis ruderalis, a smaller, hardy plant, famous for autoflowering traits, meaning it flowers based on age, not light cycle. Most cannabis strains today are hybrids, blending traits from multiple types to create a huge range of effects, flavors, and growing characteristics. Now that we've covered the types of cannabis, let's talk about why understanding the plant itself is so important when you're growing. If you want to grow strong, healthy plants, you need to understand what each part of the plant does. Think of it like learning the parts of a car before you drive. If you know what's normal, you'll recognize when something isn't right. Understanding cannabis anatomy helps you spot problems early, support better growth, and ultimately get better flower. So let's walk through the different parts of the cannabis plant, piece by piece. First up, we have the roots. Roots are hidden underground, but they're absolutely vital. They anchor the plant and absorb water, nutrients, and oxygen from the soil or medium. Healthy roots lead to a healthy, thriving plant. Once the roots are doing their job, the next structure we want to look at is the stem. The stem is the plant's main support system. It moves water and nutrients from the roots up to the leaves and flowers. Plus, a strong, thick stem helps your plant hold up heavy buds later in the season. Coming off the stem, we have the nodes and internodes. These are super important to watch during growth. Nodes are where branches grow out from the main stem. Internodes are the spaces between the nodes. If your plant has long internodes, it usually means it's stretching, often from not getting enough light. Now, let's talk about the leaves, the most iconic part of the cannabis plant. Big, beautiful fan leaves are crucial for photosynthesis, turning light into energy the plant uses to grow. You'll also find smaller sugar leaves nestled closer to the buds. These help too, especially later on when the plant is focused on flowering. Speaking of flowering, that brings us to the real prize for most growers: the buds, or flowers. This is where all the good stuff is: cannabinoids like THC and CBD, as well as flavorful terpenes. Only female plants produce the big, resinous flowers we harvest. If you zoom in even closer on these flowers, you'll find something amazing: the trichomes. Trichomes are tiny, crystal-like structures that cover the buds and sugar leaves. They shimmer like frost in the sunlight, giving the plant that beautiful, sparkling look we all love. But they're not just pretty. Trichomes are the resin factories of the cannabis plant, where cannabinoids and terpenes are made. In other words, they're the real magic makers. Around the flowers, you'll spot these colorful little hairs sticking out. Those are pistils and stigmas, and they're doing way more than just looking cute. The pistil holds the flower's reproductive parts, and the stigmas are the fuzzy, bright strands reaching out from it. Their whole mission? Grab pollen from a male plant. Basically, they're out here trying to get pollinated. But if you're growing for flower, you actually want them to stay single, because pollination means seeds, and seeds means less energy going into those beautiful fat buds you're trying to grow. When they first pop up, stigmas are bright white and super fresh looking. As the plant matures, they change colors, turning yellow, orange, even deep red. And watching that color shift is a tried and true way growers can tell the plant's getting close to harvest time. And last but definitely not least, we have the calyxes. These are the small tear-shaped structures that form the base of the flower. They protect the reproductive parts of the plant and help develop those dense, sticky buds we love. Alright, now that we've met all the parts of the plant, let's talk about what a cannabis plant actually needs to grow healthy and strong. Starting with the most important factor, light. Cannabis is a light-hungry plant. During the vegetative stage, it typically needs 18 hours of light and 6 hours of darkness each day. This long light cycle mimics summer days and helps the plant focus on growing leaves, roots, and stems. Then, when it's time to flower, you'll switch most photoperiod strains to a 12 hours on, 12 hours off light cycle. That uninterrupted 12 hours of darkness is what tells the plant, hey, it's fall, time to start producing buds. Now, if you're growing autoflowers, they don't rely on light cycles to flower. They'll do their thing automatically based on age, which makes them great for beginners or low-maintenance grows. Light management is one of the biggest keys to a healthy harvest. So whether you're using natural sunlight or indoor LEDs, understanding these cycles is essential. Next up is water, but not too much. Cannabis likes to dry out a little between waterings. Overwaterings is one of the most common beginner mistakes. Trust me, I know. My first 2 plants were way too loved with water, and I ended up with yellowing leaves and root rot before I even knew what was happening. Lesson learned, wet feet are not their vibe. Now, I always check the soil before watering. A simple trick, stick your fingers about an inch deep into the soil. If it still feels damp down there, it's not time to water yet. If it feels dry, then it's time to give them a drink. Another trick I learned over time is to lift the pots. When your plant soil is dry, the pot will feel lighter. When it's still moist, the pot will feel heavier. This helps you get into a rhythm with your plant's watering needs. Over time, you'll learn how much water it takes to really saturate the soil and when it's drying out. It's all about finding that balance. Letting the soil dry out between waterings keeps the root healthy and strong, and it'll save you a lot of headaches down the line. Of course, water alone isn't enough. Your plants are going to need food too, and that means nutrients. Cannabis needs 3 primary nutrients to thrive: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, often referred to as NPK. These are the essential building blocks of plant health. During the vegetative stage, cannabis plants crave nitrogen. Nitrogen fuels leafy green growth, helping the plant build a strong structure to support future buds. But once you switch to the flowering stage, their diet changes. Now they need higher levels of phosphorus and potassium. Phosphorus supports healthy bud formation and root development, while potassium boosts overall plant strength and helps produce those dense resinous flowers. Feeding your plant the right nutrients at the right stage can make all the difference in yield and potency, so pay attention to those NPK ratios on your fertilizer labels. We'll keep it simple for now, but don't worry, we'll do a deep dive on nutrients, feeding schedules, and even pH balancing in a future episode. Air is another thing that growers sometimes forget about, but it's crucial. Good airflow strengthens your plants and helps keep problems like mold and pest away. Think of it like the gym. When the plants move just a little, their stems grow stronger to handle it. That strength really comes in handy once the buds start stacking up. Plus, moving air keeps things dry and fresh. When the air just sits still, moisture builds up, and that's when things like powdery mildew or spider mites can show up. So a gentle breeze from a fan can make a big difference in the health of your grow. Temperature and humidity matter too. Cannabis plants have a comfort zone just like we do. During the day, they like it somewhere between 70 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. A little cooler at night is fine, but big swings or extreme temps can stress them out. Humidity changes depending on the stage your plant is in. Seedlings and baby plants love higher humidity, around 65 to 70%, because they're still growing their roots and need that moisture in the air. But once you're flowering, it's time to dial it down. Lower humidity, around 40 to 50%, helps prevent mold from forming on those dense buds. And in the final weeks of flower, even lower is better if you can manage it. Finally, the medium you choose. It's basically the home your plant is going to live in for its whole life. You've got a few options here: soil, coco coir, or hydroponics. Soil is the most beginner-friendly. It gives you a little room for error and usually has nutrients already in it, which makes it easier to keep your plant happy. Cocoa is like a step up. It's not soil, but it kind of looks like it. It drains well, roots love it, and it allows for faster growth, but you've got to feed your plants regularly because it doesn't hold nutrients on its own. And then there's hydro, where your plant's roots sit directly in water. It can grow super fast and yield a lot, but it takes more attention and care to get it right. Whichever you choose, just make sure it matches your style. If you like to keep things simple, soil might be the way to go. If you're up for more control and faster results, cocoa or hydro could be worth exploring. Growing cannabis isn't just about following steps, it's about building a relationship with your plants. The more you observe them and understand how they communicate, through their leaves, stems, and flowers, the better grower you'll become. Before we wrap up, if you're enjoying the podcast and want to keep learning, growing, and vibing with me, make sure to follow the show. And if you're feeling it, leave a review or share it with a friend who loves cannabis too. It helps a lot and keeps the community growing. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Cannabis with Tiff. Keep tending what lights you up, and I'll see you next time.